But thank God for my mother, who is not here, so she can't get me for what I'm about to share. You know, when we were growing up, there were things that our parents said that made absolutely no sense. Absolutely no sense. You know, and we promised ourselves that living in our household, we would never, as children, we promised we would never say the things that our parents said to us. Amen. How many of you can attest to that, right? We would never say to our kids, this hurts me more than it hurts you. That makes no sense. You're beating me, so how is it going to hurt you more than it hurts me? And then they say money don't grow on trees. Stop that crying before I give you something to cry for. You know, you act up here, you'll get it here. You know, I'll knock you into next week. What? It makes absolutely no sense. Don't let me call you more than once, and you know, and when I was your age, that's the main one. When I was your age, I had to walk 10 miles, and now you get to drive. Do y'all remember saying that? I put you in this world. You know, you want to call the cops, I'll help you, and I'll tell them what I did. You know, be in the house in the street, like, come on, why? So there are so many things that our parents have said that we thought made absolutely no sense. But there's one saying that I know I say that my kids absolutely hate. But I want to give another twist to it. And that saying is, because I said so. Because I said so. And it's so funny when I thought about this and I Googled it, and they said child psychologists said that's the worst thing that you can say to your child, because I said so. Well, it must not have been a psychologist of our persuasion, because that's one of the main things. You know, it's funny because, you know, the older kids kind of got it. The younger kids kind of get away with it. Amen, older siblings. And the older kids would say, well, Mom, you never gave us an explanation. You used to say, just because I said so, and that was the end of the conversation. But do you realize that sometimes you need to stop with just because I said so? And it's biblical, because if you go back to verse 5 in our text, when Jesus told Simon to pull out and to get a catch, he said, because you say so. Because I said so. And because I said so, here's my first point. Because I said so, failure is not final. Because I said so, failure is not final. These fishermen had fished all night long, and they weren't novices. They were experienced. They were experienced in their boat. They were experienced in their land. They were experienced with what they were doing. They knew when to do it, how to do it. But that night, they caught nothing. And sometimes we go through life, we can dot every I and cross every T, knowing that we have done everything humanly possible, but we failed. We failed at something we know how to do. But in this instance, because I said so, failure is not final. Failure does not define who you are or what you are able to do. It doesn't define you. Because they failed one night. They failed one night. But they were experienced. They knew. They had done it before. How many of us have done something before but yet failed? I didn't pass my driving test the first, second, or the third time. But failure didn't stop me from trying to get my license. Failure shouldn't stop you from what you know you should be doing. And just because you failed doesn't mean that that's it. It doesn't mean that. So because I said so, failure is not final. Because you know what happened when they listened. They caught more fish than they ever could imagine. See, sometimes we fail and we stop. Sometimes we fail and we give up. We throw in the towel. I'm done. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to try anymore, because we assume that failure defines who we are. And it doesn't. So if you're not where you want to be, and because you didn't do something or because something didn't work out, don't give up on that dream, that passion, that vision, that call on your life, because failure is not final. And it's not because of you, it's because he said so. The things that God speaks over your life, and I say speak because it's a continual speaking. The things that he says about you is more than what your failure looks like. Because failure is not final. It's not it's a comma. It's a pause. It's not an exclamation mark, and it's not a period. This is not the end of the story. This is not the end. Get up, because I said so. And because I said so doesn't always require an explanation. That's the reason why I said because I said so. Because even if I gave you an explanation, you're not always going to agree or accept it. Just because I give you an explanation doesn't mean that your brain can comprehend the way that I see it, because you're limited. The reason why parents say because I said so, because you would never fully understand the place or the things that we see or the harm that we're trying to prevent you from going into. That's the reason why, just because I said so. Failure is not final. Because I said so, obedience is key. Obedience is key. Here's Jesus' comment to the fishermen in Luke chapter 5, verse 4. He says, go out deep, let down your nets for a catch. There was a command, and there was a promise. Because I said so requires that you respond just what I said. And sometimes, once again, as I said already, you may not understand it, you may not comprehend it, because you're limited. Especially when we're dealing with God or you're dealing with your parent, you are limited in what you can see or understand. The stove is hot. You don't have to touch it to know that it's hot. You walk in the street without looking, you can get hit. Whether it's happened to you or not, you know that there's a possibility. But obedience is key. If you are willing and obedient, you shall eat the good of the land. And because they were obedient, their catch was well beyond their imagination. Their catch was bigger than anything they had experienced before, because he said so. And there was a response. There was obedience. And they were willing to do just what he said. Now here's the thing. How could a carpenter tell fishermen how to fish? How could someone tell me, one of the things my girls will sometimes say to me, well, Mom, you don't fully understand, because when you were growing up, they didn't have, we had one TV, and it was black and white, and so you had to share. So they'll say to me, well, Mom, you don't understand because you didn't have a cell phone, and you didn't have this, and you didn't have Facebook. You don't understand the things that I'm going through, because, to them, I'm ancient. Right? So to them, what would I know? How could I tell you something that I've never experienced? Now, granted, I've been in church. My mother raised me in church, and if you didn't go to church, you didn't watch TV. God knows you don't play cards. You wish you had gone to church, because you would have thought that it was a stormy day. When it storms, you turn off the TV. You turn off the light. You sit in the dark, and you don't talk. So just because that's how I was raised, I don't know anything, because if my mother didn't go to church, you went to church. And it wasn't a question of, Mom, I don't want, you wouldn't even, that thought, that you wouldn't have even thought it to say you're not going to church. punishment. You were happy to go to church, because if you didn't go to church, you felt like you were in prison, in solitary confinement, because you couldn't do anything. So sometimes we assume that you can't tell me anything because you haven't been where I've been. Well, Jesus told fishermen who had done it all night long, who hadn't caught anything, this is what I need you to do. And check this out. They were catching at a time they should not have even been in the water. Effective fishing takes place at night. Jesus had ministered, it was daylight, there were crowds of people, and Jesus said, go out into the deep, and then you will catch. It was opposite. It was the direct opposite. And because I said so, listen, it won't make sense to you. How could Noah build an ark and there was never any rain? How could David defeat Goliath and he never faced a giant? But because I said so, you're going to encounter things, and I need you to obey me, because you can't see it, because you are limited in your mindset. You are limited in your vision. You are limited in your ability to understand that He is God. And you're limited. So obedience is key. I need you to do, not question. Because even if I gave you an answer, you wouldn't be able to fully comprehend it. If you could see further down the line, you wouldn't even know what to do with what I give you. You wouldn't even be able to accept the end result if I gave it to you. So I can only give it to you piece by piece. But in the giving it to you, obey me at my word. And not because you can understand it. I need obedience just because I said so. Just because I said so. I don't care if you don't understand. He didn't ask us to agree, He asked us to obey. Amen. Amen. Our parents don't ask us to agree, they ask us to obey. You don't have to agree with me. And you don't agree, then as my mother said, you can leave. But take nothing I brought with you. So I'm thinking, well, that doesn't leave me with a whole lot if I can't take what you bought me. And so, then you try to come to yourself and say, well, where can I go where I can eat and sleep and, okay, I have chores, but I get everything that I need. Why leave? Why walk away from the richness of the blessings that you are receiving? Why walk away from the good that you are getting just because you don't get it? Obedience is key. And let me share this with you. When you obey, guess what? It not only blesses you, but it blesses everybody around you. Their nets begin to break, and it was so awesome that they had to call other people, come and help me take in what I just received. See, you know what? When you get blessed, other people around you get blessed. So your obedience is so paramount because it's more than just about you. You gotta be obedient. And I know it doesn't make sense. And my mind went back to the prophet who told the woman who was preparing to die. Preparing to die with her child. He said, make me some first. And when you do that, you will not go hungry. And it was during a famine. When you're ever in a dry season, you want to hold close to your chest that little bit that you have. You don't want to give it up because you're like, this is all that I have. I can't give anymore. I can't do anymore. Enough is enough. I'm sick and tired. But at the time that God calls you to give more because He said so. Because you will never outdo God's blessing. You will never outdo God. You will never outdo God. So obedience is key. And because she did that, there was no lack. There was no lack. So, because I said so. Obedience is key. Because your blessings will come pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Because I said so. Because I said so, failure is not final. Obedience is key. And lastly, your destiny is more than you imagine. They woke up fishermen. They woke up fishing. That was their profession. That's what they were destined to do. That's all they knew. But Jesus said to them, now you will fish for people. Sometimes we wake up and we assume this is all I will ever do. This is all I will ever do. This is my life. Look at what I've done. Look at where I've been. Look at my parents. Look at my... We can name it and we can say all these things that kind of define who we are. But in this case, because he said so, it transitioned them from being fishers and fishing for fish, from fishing for people. See, sometimes we wake up and we assume that I'm walking in a certain direction and this is all that I'm cut out to be. You wake up, but when you encounter the Savior, when you know who he is and when he stops by where you are, he changes your destiny. However, he uses what you've been through. He uses who you are. He doesn't take that away, but he allows you to do it about face. Use that what he's giving you to be a blessing to his kingdom. And what I love about it, they may not have understood it, but they left everything and they followed him. So because I said so, because of what I'm speaking, I'm willing and able to change your destiny. You woke up one way. Today is a new day. He's willing to change your destiny. He's willing to use that pain, that hurt, that disappointment, that failure, that lack of obedience, that lack of your unwillingness to hear him and obey him. You know, what we did yesterday was, I don't care because I can't quite see my way out. I really don't care if somebody hurt me and I'm going to stop doing something. I really don't care what's going on. I really, God, whatever. I'm tired and I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of going through. I'm sick and tired of all the hurt. I'm sick and tired of disappointment. We can say it. We can declare it. But today, because I said so. Because I said so. He sees that you're sick and tired. He sees that your back is against the wall. He sees your hurt. He says, I bottle your tears. He knows your pain. He knows your disappointment. He knows your ups and your downs. See, when I read this account, the fishermen weren't among the people following Jesus. They were off minding their own business. And so sometimes we assume that you have to be in the crowd to be amongst those who are following, coming after Jesus. But they were minding their business, cleaning their nets, licking their wounds because they hadn't caught anything. Licking their wounds because you know what? That was how they made their money. You catch nothing, you get nothing. So we don't know the state of these men having to go home, having caught anything. So they were licking their wounds. And people had come to hear Jesus speak the word. And they were minding their business. Jesus gets in their boat, commands them to pull out into the deep, speaks to the people, then speaks to the disciples. So when you're in the crowd, he's willing to speak to the crowd and he's going to speak to you. He's going to speak to the crowd. He's going to sit down and teach us. And while you are here, he's going to take a moment in the midst of the crowd to see you and see where you are because he's willing to stop what he's doing let you know, because I said so. Failure is not final. Because I said so, obedience is key. Because I said so, he is willing to shift your destiny because he said so. Because there's more for you to do. There's greater for you to do. He's transitioning you from the place where you are to a place where you need to be. So accept. I said so. You'll never understand. You'll never fully appreciate. So when you're going through, said, because he said so, greater is he that's in me than he that's in the world. Because he said so, I shall have victory. Because he said so, I am healed, mind, body, and soul. Because he said so, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Because he said so, I shall eat the good of the land. Because he said so, I am the head and not the tail. Because he said so, I am the lender and not the borrower. Because he said so. Because he said so, every word that God has spoken is true. Every word that he promised is true. Everything he said to you and about you is true. Because he said so. I am and I am because he said so. I am redeemed of the Lord because he said so. I am the righteousness of Christ because he said so. I can do all things through Christ because he said so. Greater is he because he said so. Because he said so. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I don't quite understand why somebody who was sinless can come and die. For me, he said, but while I was yet a sinner, Christ came and died because he said so. Just because he said so. And that's all you will ever need. Because he said so. That's all you will ever need. So when you go through, and we will go through, just say, you know what? Is that all you got? Because he said so. I can't do all things. That's all you got, enemy. You know, you are a defeated foe because he said so. What? Oh, what? Is that it? Every thought I bring it captive because he said so. Every word is true and every word of the enemy is a lie just because he said so. Just because he said so.